Hello guys, Coach Carroll here. This was SportsBanter38, and we're going to give what I'm going to do today on this video is just give a quick recap of the games yesterday, as well as talk about the game tonight between LSU and Miami. I've actually had a little bit of a change of heart with this game, and learning a little bit of information on LSU, and anyway, we'll get to that in a second. Just starting out. Of course, the other night we had Wisconsin beating Western Kentucky 34-3. Of course, Wisconsin's ranked number 4. Michigan State had a scare. They beat Utah State 31-38. So they had a little bit of a battle there. You know, a lot of people are expecting a lot of things out of Michigan State this year. Central Florida beat Connecticut 56-17. Stanford over San Diego State 31-10. I actually picked Purdue to finish second in the Big Ten in their division, just behind Wisconsin. But they dropped the game to Northwestern the other night, so that kind of puts a cramp into that. They're not out of it, but that definitely will affect them moving forward. Couple games of note. Maryland upset number 23 Texas 34-29. It's the second year Maryland has defeated Texas. That's somewhat of a surprise to me. I expected Texas to be a little better this year, and I honestly did not see Maryland winning that game. But hey, that's college football. You never know what's going to happen from week to week. Ohio State all over Oregon State 77-31. I heard one analyst mention, Oregon State scored 31 points. That should be a concern of Ohio State. I completely disagree. I feel like they got so far ahead so fast that they honestly just kind of let up a little bit, and Oregon State got some points, later in that game. I mean, it wasn't close at all. Probably the team I was most impressed with yesterday was Oklahoma. I know beating Florida Atlantic is not a huge deal necessarily, but a Lane Kiffin offense practically being shut out. They did not even score until the score was about 49-0, I believe, or something like that. So, yeah, it just. That I believe shutting out that Lane Kiffin offense is a big deal. Big 12 offenses normally are not very good. This Oklahoma defense, Big 12 defenses are normally not very good, but this Oklahoma defense actually looked really good against a really good offense. And of course they won 63-14, but they could have scored as many points as they wanted. The starters were out before halftime, literally. Kyler Murray, who came in for Baker Mayfield, of course he was 9 of 11 passing for 209 yards with 2 touchdowns, and he also rushed for 23 yards on 4 carries, and that's just because he didn't run it that much. He's actually a very, very electric athlete, and he will do very well with Oklahoma. It looks like Oklahoma's going to be extremely tough to beat. I know I got TCU picked to beat them in the Big 12 championship, but the way they looked yesterday, I don't know if they'll lose a game at all. I mean, they could very well lose, maybe if they show up flat one week, or just lose the Big 12, the big rivalry battle with Texas, just because it's a rivalry. But the way Texas looked yesterday, I don't know if that would even matter. Of course, running back Anderson, he had 100 yards on 5 carries with 2 touchdowns. Brown, wide receiver, had Hollywood Brown, I believe is what they call him, 6 receptions for 133 yards and 1 touchdown. They're loaded in all the skilled positions. Oklahoma is going to be a force to be reckoned with for sure. Of course, TCU beat Southern 55-7. That's really no news there. Clemson over Furman 48-7. Both Trevor Lawrence and Kelly Bryant both played pretty well. I feel like Trevor Lawrence, he had 3 touchdown passes. He clearly is the better passer. Bryant may be clearly the better runner, but it's quarterback. So I believe before it's all said and done, Lawrence will be the quarterback for Clemson. Either one of these guys could win probably 99% of their games. Once it gets to that other 1 or 2%, they're going to need to be able to throw the ball and have more balance. So, but they beat Furman 48-7. We expected that. Another surprise: Penn State was pushed to the brink against Appalachian State. Appalachian State actually pushed the game to overtime. Penn State scored with like 40 some odd seconds left to push the game into overtime, and they were able to win the game in overtime. Real quick, I want to talk about West Virginia and Tennessee. New coach and everything with this team, with Tennessee. West Virginia comes in ranked number 17 with a Heisman candidate quarterback with extremely dynamic wide receivers and a very good offense. Tennessee, to have any chance whatsoever, they were going to have to get pressure on Greer and basically run the ball and be able to keep him off the field as much as possible. Well, they were able to run the ball, fairly successful. Tim Jordan emerged as a really good running back for week 1 for Tennessee. He did have over 100 yards and scored a touchdown. Jarrett Garantano looked very good at quarterback. He was really firing the ball in there. Ty Chandler was injured. Hopefully it's not anything too serious. Their star running back, I believe he could be very good, and him and Jordan together will make an extremely good tandem at running back. Anyway, they lost the game 40-7. There was a lot of good things that they showed. Their defense wore down in the second half. It's probably due to lack of depth on the line. They didn't really get a lot of pressure on Greer, so that showed in the second half. And West Virginia handled them as they probably should have. Moving on from that game, Washington and Auburn. I picked Auburn to win 21-17. The final score was 21-16, so I was pretty close on that. I figured it'd be a pretty good low-scoring game. Auburn, of course, came out on top. That's going to be big for them moving forward. That either one of these teams still could end up contending for the playoffs. Washington, of course, Auburn with a win over number 6. That definitely looks good for them. USC with the freshman quarterback JT Daniels over UNLV, 43-21. The last game I want to talk about, I'll just say real quick, Alabama 51-14 over Louisville. And the last game I want to talk about a little bit more in depth is Notre Dame and Michigan. Of course, I picked Michigan to win this game 27-13. I did not believe that I didn't believe Wimbush would be able to do very well against this Michigan defense. As it turned out, his running on third down to get first downs was paramount in this game, and Notre Dame's defense was just off the charts. They pressured Patterson all day long. Now, he was still 20 of 37 for 227 yards. He did have one interception, but their defensive line dominated Michigan's offensive line the entire game. I did not see Wimbush being as successful as he was. He was 12 of 22 passing for 170 yards, which he did pretty good throwing the ball. I didn't see him being able to throw the ball at all. But to me, more important than his passing was his scrambling around for first downs. That really hurt Michigan. It seemed like every third down he would scramble and get a first down. He was having extreme trouble trying to get this thing going. And, Michigan was having extreme trouble trying to stop Wimbush at all. Also, as far as running the ball goes, they had a new running back, Armstrong, and he was running the ball pretty good. He had a couple touchdowns. He wound up. He didn't really kill him running the ball. Wimbush hurt him more than anything running the ball. He had almost 60 yards rushing. And Notre Dame made the plays when they needed to. I still think Michigan's going to be fine. I still like their chances of getting a playoff spot. It's going to be hard. I feel like they're going to win the Big Ten, maybe with one more loss, which will give them 2 losses. But with this schedule, they may be able to win the Big Ten and get in. But another thing to note, Notre Dame, if they can run the table, they're more than likely in because they have a pretty tough schedule as well. Maybe they can get in with 1 loss. I'm not sure. I feel like Shea Patterson didn't live up to the hype. That could be 3 things. 1, he's just not very good. 2, Notre Dame's defense is just that good. Or 3, he's going to need time to get in a rhythm with this offense. And me personally, I believe it's a combination of 2 and 3. I do believe he's a good player. I just believe that Notre Dame's offense is really good, and I believe they're going to need a couple games under their belt before he really gets going with that offense. And that's going to do it for the recap. A really good day of games. I really enjoyed watching the football yesterday. I watched pretty much 3 full games and probably partial 5 or 6 games. I'm a huge college football fan. I love sitting around on Saturdays and watching football and eating for the most part. The game tonight, I definitely plan on watching. LSU against Miami. In my previews, I originally was picking Miami to defeat LSU in what I believe was going to be a good game. I don't know how I missed it, but not apparently, Joe Burrow from Ohio State transferred to LSU, quarterback, and I've said for years that the only thing keeping LSU from being a serious contender is having a quarterback that is any good at all. I mean, they really, really missed the ball on quarterbacks. Joe Burrow, in my opinion, is going to be a good quarterback. He does not have the accolades simply because he didn't start at Ohio State. He was barely beat out by Haskins, who we saw yesterday, really played very well. And I heard it was pretty close. Haskins is a really good player, so being beat out by Haskins is not a bad thing necessarily. It does not mean you're not any good. A lot of people were still saying Barrow should start. So hearing that tells me that Barrow is going to be a formidable quarterback at LSU. And LSU with a formidable quarterback is dangerous. And, of course, they're ranked at number 25 right now. That's based on what they've done the last few years, so it's fair. But with Barrow at quarterback and the LSU defense, I feel like that they can beat Miami. And I'm actually flipping my pick. I'm going to say LSU does beat Miami, and I'm going to say they're going to beat them like 27-17 or 31-17. I feel like their defense and their ability to run the ball with the athletes that they have will be enough to beat Miami on opening weekend, which is a huge win for LSU, with Miami being ranked number 8 in the top 10. That's going to be a big win for LSU. It'll catapult them up a little bit, and we should be in for a really good game. I think it's going to be a very fun game to watch. Really looking forward to it. And I'll do another video on this game, probably talk about Virginia Tech and Florida State tomorrow night. Still kind of up into the air on that. It's at Florida State, but part of me believes Virginia Tech may beat them. It's a 20 versus 19 matchup, with Virginia Tech being 20. I just got a feeling that could be an upset. Could be wrong on that, but we'll see. Anyway, that's all I got, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, share, subscribe, comment below. Let me know what you think about my picks, and is there anything that stood out to you on the first weekend of college football? And with that, guys, I hope everybody has a wonderful day and enjoy your Labor Day. And this is SportsBanter38, and I'm Coach Carroll, and we are out.